In this video, what I'm going to be talking about is going in detail of the prison system that we're going to be getting in Rell Seas, okay? So if you're new to this channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because I hear YouTube tells me a good amount of y'all watching my content are low-key not subscribed. Now, why would you not want to subscribe? I don't know. Don't be a bum. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the video. Now, before we do get into the nit and gritty of everything in this video, I do want to let you guys know that I have a Discord, which is linked in the description below, okay? And this Discord is going to be very cool, okay? If you're a content creator, you're a viewer, or you're just someone that's trying to support me, go in the link in the description and actually join the Discord, because, you know, we're going to have different roles. And, you know, once Rell Seas comes out, I'm going to be very interactive in the Discord and give a lot of stuff in there. You know, we do giveaways from time to time. So go in that link in the description and join the video and join the Discord. Okay, and let's get into the video. Now, I hope every single one of y'all are actually doing great. I myself, I'm doing wonderful, okay? And as you heard from the intro, we're going to be giving you a detailed information of what the prison system should look like in the Rell Seas. Now, this prison system, let's basically call it Hades Asylum, because that is what we're getting in Rell Seas, okay? Hades Asylum is similar to something called Impel Down in One Piece. And what is Impel Down? Let me just give you a small introduction of what Impel Down is. Think of Impel Down as a crazy, top-notch Russian prison facility that's pretty much impossible to escape, okay? And who gets put into Impel Down? Think of the worst criminals. The worst of the worst get put into Impel Down, okay? And think of Impel Down has 5 different levels. Level 1 being the ones with like around 20-30 million bounties, but level 5 being the ones with over a billion bounties on their head, okay? Maybe 500 million plus are the ones that are usually in that level 5 category, okay? Now, what does Impel Down look like, okay? Think of Impel Down as something very hard to actually escape out of, okay? And if you even watched One Piece, you see how hard it was for Luffy and Buggy for them to even get out of Impel Down, okay? You had to fight different bosses and, you know, just mini challenges along the way for them to get out of, okay? Now, let's look at Hades Asylum, which is what they're going to be calling it in Rell Seas, okay? Let's look at it as a view of a pirate or a revolutionary, right? We have 4 different major factions in Rell Seas. You have World Government, Marine, Revolutionary as a pirate, okay? Now, as a pirate, what I would assume is like, because Rell Brothers have really not talked about what the bounty system is actually going to look like in the, you know, Rell Seas. But, you know, one thing that we can assume is that I would assume that they do have like you know, a small prison for people with not that crazy of a bounties. But if you have like over like maybe like 50 mil or something and you get caught by the Marine, you get put into Hades Asylum. Now, I do tell y'all that we do have a very interactive game, meaning you're gonna have NPCs that actually communicate with you and actually move around in the game, okay? Now, one thing I can assume is that, no, one thing that we do know actually is that you're getting as a pirate. Let's look at it as a view of a pirate. You have over 40 different factions that, you know, you can bond or feel relationship with as a, you know, I mean 40 different NPC pirate group that you can form a relationship with, however it is, okay? Now, let's assume you get caught, okay? Let's assume you have like a 60 mil bounty on your head, you get caught and you put into Hades Asylum. What is it gonna look like and how can you even get out of? Okay, now what this is gonna look like is, just think of it as a really hard place to get out of, okay? What I can already assume is that they're definitely gonna put, you know, different challenges along the way. Maybe you have to solve different puzzles, but one thing that we do confirm is that they're gonna be like tiny mini bosses or just bosses in general in Impel Down before you can escape. Like, they're gonna be a room, like, you want to get out of this place, you got to defeat these bosses, and there's gonna be a good amount of them. Hence why it's really difficult, especially if you get to one of the bottom levels. You get put into the bottom level, it's gonna be horrible, and you gotta pretty much escape each floor. So my goal is just make sure y'all don't get caught, okay? I personally won't get caught, and if you want to make sure you don't get caught too, go in that link in the description, join the Discord, okay? Now, let's look at it as a view of a Marine. What is this gonna look like? One thing that I'm excited to say is Rell Seas is doing different ranks as a Marine. Now, I do know Block Truths already did this, but Block Truths kind of did it as, they didn't do it as a perk, they just did it as a title. You just get the title, nothing much to it. But what Rell Seas is doing is actually giving us some perks. You can actually have power as an admiral or a lieutenant captain, okay? They did mention that not everyone as a Marine is going to be able to access Hades Asylum. You actually have to be higher up the chain to be able to access Hades Asylum, and even though you do have access to Hades Asylum, only a select few, or if you have a different, like a certain title, would you be able to access the different levels or floors that we're going to be getting in Hades Asylum. Okay, now how is this going to work? How do you actually rank up as a Marine? Now we definitely don't know what this is going to look like, and it's not confirmed, but as a Marine, one thing I can imagine is, since we're getting NPC pirates as well as NPC civilians, what this is probably going to look like is, a pirate group is just beating up some random civilian, and as a Marine, it's your job to step in and kind of just beat up the NPC pirates. Now this one is just an assumption, it's not something that was confirmed, but it's fine. You get into there, and maybe you do a bunch of those, and then you ranked up, or maybe they do it like you complete a quest, or whatever it's gonna be like. Okay, but that's what you're gonna be getting, and as in to get access to Hades Asylum. And this one's really cool because as a Marine, I'm so happy they actually gave enough life to Marine, because most of the games that I see on One Piece related games, they just make it look like you want to be a pirate because the pirate's only the best thing. It's the freedom role. You can be free as a pirate, you can do, but as a Marine, you can get something. Okay, if I was a Marine, Lord knows I am spawn camping. If I see any one of y'all big bounty heads get put into Impel, or let's say Hades Asylum, Lord knows I will make sure y'all don't leave that cell, because I will be spawn camping and just beating y'all. I'm just trolling, obviously, but it's what's so fun about the game. Okay, they're making it lively, they're making it interactive, and this rank thing that they're doing, I was so happy when I saw this, because I was like, thank God. Okay, Bloxfruits doesn't do this, King's Legacy, Grand Peace, none of them do it. Like, you actually have perks. Okay, but like, this is something crazy. As a Marine, you can have like a crazy like type of boats, you can have so many things, and I'm so happy that they're actually doing that. Obviously it's going to be a little difficult to explain or to get out of Hades Asylum as a pirate, as a revolutionary, or what if you get even as a rank as a world government, you get that type of ranking. How is this gonna work? Okay, these are questions we don't know, but I hope I was able to give you a brief summary or a brief understanding of what Hades Asylum is gonna look like. Okay, top-notch security, crazy defense, and obviously one thing I can already assume is they're probably gonna have NPC Marines also inside of Hades Asylum, just making sure you don't just escape and dwindle out of there. Okay, and I'm so happy that they're doing this, making the game a little bit challenging to give you somewhat of that One Piece vibe. I'm glad that they're doing this. Okay, so if you enjoy the content, again, go in that link in the description, join the Discord, like the video, subscribe, and I really appreciate a bunch of y'all. I've been seeing comments, I've been seeing a whole lot of stuff, and I appreciate y'all for actually watching the content and actually just being involved with the channel as a whole. I really appreciate y'all. Okay, so make sure y'all boys have a good day. Y'all want to have a better day? How about you watch the next two videos on the screen? If you want to have a better day, go ahead and watch the next two videos on the screen. Y'all boys have a good one. Peace.